So October has some major shifts this month, really powerful shifts. We're finally going to see things start to move forward. There's sort of a teeter-totter of energy between grace and hope and clarity, and then some major shifts as we have eclipses coming at the end of the month. We've got planets turning direct and we have planets turning retrograde. So it's a mixed bag, but the first part of the month, the first half of the month, is really where the clarity comes in and we start to feel some of that forward momentum that we've really been waiting for. Hi, I'm Prema and welcome to Chart Your Path. I wanted to come to you live from my greenhouse today. We're kind of coming to the end of the season here. I'm getting ready to clean the greenhouse out and plant it with winter lettuce and garlic and things, but we still have some eggplants, some tomatoes, some basil and cucumbers here, and a beautiful autumn evening. So I wanted to give you a peek into my world here. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I really appreciate if you do hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. And if you are looking to have some deeper guidance, to have a reading, all my links to all my courses and readings are down below, including the free Sacred Wealth Code Archetype quiz. So we start the month with Mercury is going to be exalted in Virgo all the way until the 27th of the month. I know it's been retrograde. I know things have felt like they're kind of on hold in a lot of ways or wonky because of the retrograde, but hang on, because when we get to October 3rd, we're going to shift into Mercury going direct. And this is going to really bring up a lot of clarity. You've been evaluating things on a deep level. Personally for you in a certain area of life, because Virgo in Vedic astrology is ruling something for you, but for it is really wanting you to be willing to examine the things that are coming up and not make choices too terribly quickly. So I really want you to wait until October 3rd, October 4th, really, until you start to make any of the important choices. Of course, make whatever choices you need to, but those really important ones, there's going to be clarity that clicks in right at the end. So understand that for yourself and what you've been dealing with, and wait to make those choices until then. And then how do you really know? Don't take too much information from the outside. You need to find that wisdom within. Okay, so take the time to get quiet and really hear what's coming up for you. And if you're bouncing it off a lot of people, then you are not clear yet. And it's better for you to take some time to yourself and get clear about that. At the same time, we start the month with a Saraswati yoga in the heavens. So that means we've got Jupiter and we've got Venus and we've got Mercury, all in a particular combination. Jupiter in Pisces, Venus and Mercury in Virgo, and they're aspecting one another. And when these three benefic planets come together, they bring grace, they bring hope. And Jupiter's really expanding our vision and expanding our spirituality and our hope and our grace. And Venus and Mercury, the great communicator, the great connector, in Virgo, are getting down to the details of things about communication and relationship and business and so there's a lot of light coming in. Again, just wait till after that Mercury retrograde to make the really important decisions. On the 9th of October, we have a full moon. Now, that's a full moon that is really auspicious because the Saraswati yoga I was just talking about, this is a Pisces full moon in the nakshatra of Revate. And remember, a full moon is when the sun and moon are opposite of one another, when we're bringing things into fruition. And at that time, that Saraswati yoga is, the full moon is happening in that same placement. So there's a lot of light, a lot of grace. Mercury will be going direct. You're going to be able to, I'll bring another update at that time, of course, but you're really going to be able to see things in the fullness of the light that maybe you haven't been able to, and especially with your bringing your consciousness to that. So a lot of grace, a lot of hope especially during that full moon time. And Revate is at the very end of the zodiac, and it's really that disillusion into the all, into the one that we are, instead of remembering the separateness of who we are. So it's not a time to check out. It's a time to really check in, And the goddess Saraswati is all about that inner wisdom. Once we've come back home to heart and we know what our heart desires are, we can then hear that deeper wisdom. Stay tuned during that time I will be offering a healing full moon circle, and this will be all about opening up to your manifestation of what it is that your heart's desire and the deep healing it takes to be able to bring that to fruition. So I'll be bringing some more information out, and if you aren't already on my email list, if you take the Sacred Wealth Code Archetype quiz or any of my free offerings below, you'll get onto the email list, and then you'll get all the information about that and the other specials I have coming up. So on October 16th, we have Mars that's been going through Taurus, goes into Gemini just for a little while. It goes in for about a month, until November 13th. Now, during that time, Mars is going to turn retrograde. It's going to turn retrograde on October 30th. But before I get to that, just the fact that it being in Gemini is Mars is slowing down. Mars likes to move quickly. It's the honorable warrior. It's the strategist, especially in Gemini, and the engineer very much so in Taurus. And it really does move very, very quickly. So, and it likes to be productive, wants to get stuff done, is black and white kind of thinking, and it's a lot of our passion and our drive. Well, as it's coming into Gemini, that is a place of, our intellect and throwing ideas around and communication. And be careful of feeling irritated or frustrated as it's slowing down, because you want to move quicker with things. But also in Gemini, I really want you to be careful of too quick a communication that ignites and becomes arguments easily. In order to take the edge off of Mars, you want to sweat. You want to exercise and burn off some of that extra energy, so then you can get down to being disciplined about what it is that you're to focus on, what you're moving forward, what you want to be productive about. So your spiritual practices and just downright sweating, whether that's yoga or whether that's running 3 miles, whatever it is for you, or lifting weights, burn off that extra energy so you don't get into arguments with others, and so that you can stay focused and feel productive, even though it may be one step at a time instead of it all being done yesterday like Mars likes it. On October 17th, we have the Sun, the great leader, moving into Libra from Virgo. And then just the day later, we have Venus moving into Libra. Now, Venus is the great connector and the artist and the muse, and it owns Libra, and it's its placement. And the Sun happens to be debilitated in this placement. Now, there's a good thing. There's a benefit to this place. It comes to this time every year, and that Sun, that solar energy, that leader energy, takes a step back when it gets into Libra. It allows other people to shine. Libra is a very relational sign, so it's really asking us to connect with others and look at our compromises on how we do connect with others. With the leader there, it's really about sharing our power, sharing our vision and our purpose. This is where we want to get relative about it and share it with others and come together. And in this placement, we need to be able to listen. We need to be able to take a step back and really hear others. And one of the things that can happen is your confidence can be a little bit challenged in this placement. So during the mid-October to mid-November, if you're feeling your confidence is not as what it would be, or you're thinking, I thought I was the one and now I'm not the one in some way, just take a deep breath and remember this is a we placement instead of a me placement. And the more you're able to listen to others and, and of course bounce your ideas and your mission with other people, but the inclusion of others is going to allow you to feel what this placement is really good for. Also with Venus here, of course, Venus is all the love and connection and our relationships and the artist as well. And it can be really in full expression in Libra because we want to share ourselves. We want to be relative with others. The catch is here. This is where the solar eclipse is going to happen on the 25th of the month. I'll talk about that in a moment. But because in this placement where the connector and the leader they're with the mystic. This is where K2, the south node of the moon, is. And because they're with the mystic during this time, the south node of the moon, K2, that is the most spiritual aspect because it's all about detachment, not being in this world so much. So even more so, you're going to be seeing your relationships and maybe not feeling as connected as you want to be. The connector's not going to necessarily feel that. You're going to be assessing things and maybe not willing to compromise as much in relationship as you have in the past. And really evaluating your energetic currency and like, wow, does my energy, is it worth what I have to give up to be in certain relationships? You're going to be assessing that, and then that'll come under pressure during the eclipse time, and you'll really be taking a closer look at that. So what I want to invite you to do during that time is allow that to be an inner process, and notice where some relationships just might not have the currency that they had before, and just kind of make note of that. And also notice where the relationships are that really do enliven you and have that energetic currency, and what you're not willing to give up anymore, celebrate, and where you see yourself still giving pieces of yourself away in relationship that you don't want to, that's where you need to get in and do your clearing work in those areas. Another big shift we have is Saturn, our very slow-moving administrator, organizer, advocate, has been retrograding in Capricorn. Now, Saturn spent a lot of time in Capricorn. It owns Capricorn in Vedic astrology. This rules a certain area of your life and your chart. And this is because of this retrograde, we have been again reassessing the things that we are committed to, the things we want to focus on and that are worth pouring our attention into. It's also, we've been taking a look at the organization and the structure of certain things in our lives and within ourselves. So as it goes retrograde, we're going to start to feel, again, like we can move forward. We've got enough information, and some of the things that we might have started in these areas, or we thought we were committed to, or we wanted to focus on, and it was really worth pouring our heart and soul into, we might find that it's not as worth it, or we want to make some shifts in that. All that information is just going to come up, and it has been coming up. So if you've been questioning certain things, that's okay. As it goes direct, you're going to find the clarity in that, and you'll move forward differently in some ways than maybe you thought you were going to before. You could have been structuring something in your business, and now you realize it needs a total restructure, and it needs to be much simpler because where you're going has shifted and changed. Saturn does want to pare things down and get it down to the essential, but we're going to have to do some hard work, and if it's aligned with our purpose, then we're going to want to, and if it's not, it's going to feel like drudgery. So really listen. Saturn's also the great timekeeper, and it's, we hear that clock ticking with Saturn. So Saturn's reminding us, what do we really have time for on this planet in life? What's worth our energetic currency? What's worth our heart, our soul, our time, our commitment? So be open to what's coming up around that. And if you have to say goodbye to something and do it totally different, or you feel like you put so much into a project, or so much into a business, or so much into maybe even a career you were looking at, or even a home or a piece of property, but now it doesn't resonate, better to let it go and move on with something that really you do want to put your energetic currency into. So really pay attention. I'd love to hear what's coming up for you around that, around moving forward, and also around the things moving forward that you've been waiting for clarity around with Mercury moving forward. So there's a lot of clarity coming. There's so many planets retrograde. We're going to get 2 going direct, and at the end of the month we'll get another one going retrograde because Mars will be going retrograde on the 30th. So it's a very interesting time. Now, on October 25th, big time. This is where that solar eclipse is going to come in, Libra, and it's going to aspect Aries. That's where the eclipse pattern is happening in Vedic astrology. These represent certain areas of your life, certain areas of your chart. And in fact, and that's a really good thing for you to know. I'm going to be offering some special eclipse readings. Again, if you get on my email list by getting one of my free offerings, then what's going to happen is you're going to get first notice on that. I'll be making an announcement about that in the next few days, but I am opening up my calendar. I'm going to do some readings for the eclipse and for the Mars retrograde coming up here. so that you know where these big changes are hitting you and how you can negotiate them, because we have 2 eclipses coming up. Once you know where these are hitting you, you're feeling it. But when you know where they're hitting you, you can prepare for the storm in that area of life. The solar eclipse shifts directions. I will do another update on the solar eclipse well before it, so you've got that information. But the mystic K2 is going to, again, laser through anything that has to do with our relationships, our heart, our connection in that way, our agreements, how we are with others, and asking us to, it's the solar eclipse with K2, it asks us to relinquish something, let go in some way. And in doing that, we make space, but letting go, isn't always what we wake up in the morning saying, hey, I can't wait to let go of that. But circumstance will bring that to you depending on how this is aspecting you. Here's the thing about eclipses. It's an unexpected period of time. That's unexpected. So you keep life simple during that time. We'll have another eclipse on November 8th. That'll be a lunar eclipse. It'll be in Aries. And really from just before the 25th to a couple days after November 8th, that's the eclipse time, okay? And you're going to want to make sure that you keep things a little more simple, keep your schedule a little more simple, so when the unexpected comes to the surface, you've got the space, the presence to deal with it. I appreciate you so being here. If you are looking for deeper guidance with me, again, all the links to all my readings and programs are down below, and my free offerings. And again, stay tuned, because I will be bringing you that special eclipse reading that I'll be doing very soon. And if you haven't already subscribed or shared this, I really appreciate it if you do. It gets the word out, and I'd love to hear what's coming up for you in these retrogrades and turning direct, and what's happening for you. So leave me a comment down below. I read all my comments.